What if I told you that simply going silent isn't the blow you think it is? You assume that cutting off contact will wreck her, that your silence will echo and leave her broken. But here's the harsh truth. Most women expect that. They've experienced it before, and many are emotionally prepared for it. Going no contact may create space, but it doesn't crack the ego. It doesn't shift the dynamic. It doesn't make her rethink what she lost. You're here because you were loyal. You went all in. You invested your heart, your time, your energy. And when she left, she didn't just leave a relationship. She left you questioning your worth. That pain, that confusion, it's not a wound. It's an awakening. This video isn't about petty revenge. It's not about chasing her or hoping she comes back. It's about becoming the man whose silence is more than quiet. It's powerful. We're going beyond no contact. We're reshaping your mindset, rebuilding your foundation, and reigniting the part of you that she'll wish she never let go of. This is Stoic Blessing, and today I'll show you how to dismantle her ego without a single word. If you're done being haunted by her memory, if you're ready to reclaim your strength and flip the script, hit the like button, subscribe, and comment below. I rise from rejection. Now let's go deeper. Destroy the illusion. You're not grieving her. You're mourning the idea of her. The version you imagined. The woman who said all the right things, touched your soul, maybe even talked about forever. But that version? She only existed in your mind. She was a projection, a dream woven out of your hope, your loyalty, your hunger to be seen and loved fully. But what did she really do? Did she leave without closure? Lead you on? Act like a victim while entertaining someone else behind your back? That's not love. That's manipulation. That's ego. And every time you revisit her old messages or daydream about those good times, you're keeping that fantasy alive. You're fueling the illusion. And that illusion keeps her high in your mind, where she no longer belongs. This is your first strike in shattering her ego. Burn the pedestal. Because as long as you see her as special, as someone you lost, she holds power over you. A Stoic sees the truth, not just what he wishes were true. Let go of that dream you worshipped. That fantasy is a prison. And when you finally look at her without emotion clouding your judgment, you'll start to see everything you ignored. The red flags, the excuses, the disrespect. She wasn't your soulmate. She was your lesson. And the message is clear. Stop falling in love with potential. Stop glorifying chaos. Start honoring yourself more than your need to feel wanted. Burn the illusion, and in its ashes, you'll find clarity. She didn't break your heart. She exposed where your boundaries were missing. Become unreachable. Going no contact? That's the starting line, not the finish. Any man can block her, unfollow her, or disappear physically. But if you really want to crush her ego, you have to do more than remove yourself from her phone. You have to remove her from your mind. True detachment means she can't reach you emotionally. No emotional leaks. No cryptic Instagram stories for her to decode. No quotes crafted to get under her skin. Because as long as she senses you still care, she still owns part of you. If she can stir a reaction with silence, a vague post, or her name popping up on your screen, she still has control. But a man on his purpose doesn't hand out his energy like a discount. To become unreachable, you don't just act indifferent, you master it. You don't check her social media. You don't fish for updates through friends. You don't let her occupy your mental space. Because here's the secret. Women who feed on attention can't stand indifference. Even anger gives them validation. But silence, combined with total emotional detachment, that's what breaks them. She won't panic because you're gone. She'll panic because she can't read you anymore. No clues, no messages, no validation, just silence. and the echo of her own actions. That's when the ego starts to crack. That's when she starts asking, did I really matter like I thought I did? And just like that, the power shifts. Master the void. Most men treat silence like a waiting room, just passing time until she texts back, until she misses them, until she returns. But that mindset is weakness dressed up as patience. If you want to shift the story, you don't just sit in the silence, you own it. The void isn't something to survive. It's where transformation begins. No distractions, no dopamine hits, no closure. Just you and what's left behind after she's gone. It's in this silence that you meet your real self, the wounded part, the rebuilding part, the version of you she never truly saw. And that's your edge. Because while she runs from the emptiness, seeks attention, drowns in distractions, you go inward. You sharpen your mind. You channel your pain into progress. The silence becomes your training ground, your sanctuary, your battleground. And the man who learns to sit alone without validation, affection, or noise becomes a force no one can shake. You stop obsessing over whether she notices you and start obsessing over who you're becoming. You detach not just from her, but from the need to be completed by anyone. You start moving with more intention, speaking less, watching more. And when the world sees you again, they won't recognize the man who walked into the void, because the man who came out is sharper, wiser, unshakable. And she'll feel it. Not from a post, not from a message, but in the shift, when she realizes your silence isn't waiting, it's becoming. The mirror effect. You don't destroy her ego by explaining yourself. You do it by reflecting her choices right back at her, silently, unshakably. Most men chase closure. They write long paragraphs, spill their hearts, hoping she'll finally understand. But that's not power, that's submission. That's still asking her for emotional approval. You want to shake her world? Say nothing. Let your absence do the talking. Let the silence become a mirror she can't avoid. When you stop reacting and instead become a consequence of her choices, something shifts. Suddenly, she's not facing drama or begging, she's facing herself. The attention she once relied on, gone. The drama she used to control you, dead. And all that remains is your calculated distance staring her in the face. This is the mirror effect, not born out of revenge, but self-respect. You give her nothing to fight, nothing to spin, nothing to twist, just her own reflection. She expected you to fold. She thought you'd beg. She thought you'd wait. But when you evolve in silence, detached, composed, the regret begins to seep in. That's when doubt sets in. That's when her ego begins to fracture. Because she's no longer facing the man she left. She's facing the man her choices helped create. Cut off her ego's oxygen. The ego lives off attention. It feeds on your reactions, your jealousy, your validation, even your silence if it's performed for her. That's why even after she leaves, she still lurks. A like here, a just checking in message, a story view. Don't take the bait. She's not checking in because she cares. She's testing her control. Most men fail here. They still validate her. They post pictures hoping she sees. They drop hints. They act like they've moved on, but all of it is for her attention. Every time you signal that she still matters, even subtly, her ego gets a hit of power. If you want to break that ego, you need to shut off the supply. Withdraw all validation, not with spite, but with indifference. A Stoic man knows that attention is currency, and she's already overdrawn. You don't need to announce your glow-up. You don't post to prove a point. You move like a man who values his time too much to waste it on reminders. And when she sees that your growth isn't a performance, it's your new reality, that's when her ego starts to starve. She wanted space? Give her a galaxy of silence. And in that emptiness, her illusion of control will collapse. Because nothing bruises the ego more than realizing you don't even care if she's watching anymore. Turn the pain into power. The pain you're carrying, it's not your downfall, it's your fuel. You've got two options: let it consume you, or turn it into the very thing that sharpens you. Most men sit in the wreckage, playing the heartbreak on repeat, asking, "Why me?" But a Stoic man doesn't ask why. He asks, "What now?" You want to truly break her ego? Take the damage she caused and use it to create a version of yourself no one saw coming, not even her. Channel that heartbreak into obsession, not with her, with self-mastery. Get into the gym, build your body, build your business, get focused, get still, get dangerous. Use the fire she lit, but don't give her the credit, give her the silence. Because the man who rises from heartbreak without bitterness becomes terrifying. He doesn't love because he needs to, he loves because he chooses to. Transmutation means she didn't break you, she built the monster she was never ready for, not because she wanted to, but because you refused to stay broken. Every lie, every insult, every time she ignored you, you used it. You trained harder, you moved smarter, you trimmed the fat from your life, you became intentional. And now she doesn't just regret the pain she caused, she regrets ever underestimating what that pain could turn you into. This isn't a glow-up, this is alchemy. You've become a force, calm, focused, unshakable. Not because you hid from the world, but because you outgrew the one she left you in. Become irreplaceable. Here's the raw truth. Breakups rarely hit her immediately. She leaves thinking she upgraded. She thinks you're just another guy she'll forget. She believes you're replaceable. That's where you strike, not through words, but through transformation. You want to crush her ego? Become the man she can't replicate, no matter how many people she tries to run to. This doesn't mean showing off money or chasing validation. That's weak. This is about stepping fully into the man you were always meant to be. The man who doesn't chase, doesn't flinch, doesn't beg. You become the man who commands respect just by walking into a room, who carries peace like a sword and discipline like armor. Ask yourself, how many men does she know who don't need attention, who aren't broken by rejection, who live for purpose instead of praise? Very few. That's your leverage. While she cycles through the same type of guy over and over again, you evolve into something rare, something grounded, something untouchable. This isn't about showing her what she lost. This is about becoming the man who was never meant to be found by someone who couldn't handle him. She thought you were temporary. Now, when she hears your name, when she sees your progress, she'll know. She didn't just lose a boyfriend. She lost a once-in-a-lifetime presence. Rebuild in silence. Real growth doesn't happen in public. It happens in silence, in the shadows, far from likes, views, and validation. That's where you rebuild. That's where the next version of you is forged. You want to destroy her ego? Stop trying to be seen. Start becoming someone she wouldn't even recognize if she looked straight at you. This is where most men mess up. They want her to see the change, to feel the regret in real time. So they post updates, flex the new life, drop hints. But that's still weakness. That's still performing. You don't need her to witness your rise. You need to rise so powerfully that when she does hear your name again, she wonders who the hell she ever left. A Stoic man doesn't evolve for applause. He evolves for rebirth. He cuts the noise, dials into purpose, and builds a system around discipline, sleep, health, business, solitude, peace. And when the transformation is real, the world starts noticing on its own. Not because you posted, but because they feel the difference. She'll hear about it. Mutual friends will mention you. Your silence will become the loudest message. She'll scroll and wonder, is that really him? She won't recognize you, and that's the goal. Because this isn't revenge, it's resurrection. And no, she's not invited to chapter 2. Let her watch from afar. You don't have to block her. You don't need to hide. Let her see from a distance she can't cross. That's where the ego starts to crack. You're no longer accessible. You're no longer hers to check in on. She has to watch the new you from behind a wall she built herself. Because here's the truth. People crave what they no longer control. When you were available, she took you for granted. But now, she has to witness what she gave up. And that's what shatters her illusion of power. And you don't do it out of spite. You don't throw it in her face. You move in strength, in purpose, in silence. You don't post thirst traps. You post progress. You don't seek her attention. You lead with purpose. You live for your mission, not her memory. Eventually, she'll see. She'll scroll. She'll hear. And when she does, the silence will hit different, because it's filled with your growth, not your pain. And you don't chase. You don't reply. You don't react. You stay in motion while her ego unravels in your rearview mirror. That's power. That's how you win without a word. Section 10. Forgive not for peace, but for power. Forgiveness isn't weakness. It's not about pretending she didn't hurt you. It's not about excusing betrayal. Forgiveness is power. It's you saying, you no longer have control over how I feel. And that is what truly shatters her ego. She expected hate. She expected bitterness. She expected you to hold on to the grudge. But when you move on with grace, with quiet confidence, with no intention of revenge, that's when it hits her hardest. Because now she realizes she can't touch you. Not emotionally, not mentally, not spiritually. But let's be clear, you don't forgive her for her. You forgive so you can finally drop the baggage. So you stop replaying the hurt. So you free yourself from the weight of resentment. You don't owe her a message. You don't owe her closure. You forgive, and then you vanish. Into your new life, into your new identity. Stronger, wiser, untouchable. And when she looks back, expecting to see the man she once knew, she finds nothing. Because you're not broken. You're not bitter. You're reborn. Final words. This was never about her. It was always about you, about reclaiming your power, about remembering who you are when the noise fades and the masks fall. No contact, that was just step 1. Now you know the truth. Silence alone isn't enough. Becoming untouchable is the real move. So let her wonder, let her scroll, let her drown in the silence you command. While she seeks validation, you seek purpose. While she plays games, you play chess. While she looks back, you move forward. This is your era, one built on focus, discipline, and unshakable self-respect. Carry it like armor, speak it with action, and never again confuse access with value. You're not broken. You're not bitter. You've simply risen. If you felt this, if you're ready to keep rising, subscribe to Inner Funda, hit that like button, and comment below. I rise with silence and power. And remember, she didn't lose you when she walked away. She lost you the moment you stopped looking back.